Second Extinction is visceral, fast-paced, and easily some of the most fun I've had in a video game in ages. Though it's not a perfect package, it has so much to offer in terms of fun factor, and with the outlined plans of expanding and evolving the game over time, Second Extinction is the type of early access game you really want to keep tabs on. Today we'll be going over the good, the bad, and the awesome in Second Extinction, and hopefully this review will give you a better idea if this game is something you want to support through its early access. For the good, Second Extinction offers an absolute ton of it. All the guns feel really great, especially when you start getting upgrades for them, which we'll be talking about in the awesome section later on in this review. The randomizing factors of main missions and side missions keep things feeling fresh as you go about the core gameplay loop of straight up just destroying thousands of dinos. The dinos themselves stay pretty fresh to fight as well, with detailed animations of dodging, maneuvering, and attacking the player. Though, sadly, they bring a few downsides to them, which we'll be talking about in the bad section. The map itself, though, is beautiful, and even though the views can be pretty easy to miss amongst all the carnage, the moments where you sit back and take things in are a real good vibe. With varying weather effects, and day and night being a random factor when you start a mission, the Apex engine really shines in Second Extinction's big map approach. All the voice acting is really solid too, with each hero having a ton of personality that serves well to differentiate the moment-to-moment dialogue you experience in game. Main mission objectives are a lot of fun to complete, and add a great spice of variety to the randomizing factors, as most of your gameplay will be filled with side objectives during a mission, having the main mission act as kind of a cherry on top to the entire experience. Offering unique interior scenarios, getting the players to focus on multitasking objectives, which all boils down to great multiplayer interaction and moments. From recovering databases to blowing up mine shafts, fighting huge imposing T-Rexes, and everything in between, the main missions of Second Extinction are a blast in both solo play and multiplayer. Finally, at a price point of $24.99 US, it's a perfect price for a game of its current caliber, and a total steal when it comes to how this game will expand and evolve over time. Now for the bad stuff, but I'm not the type of person to just give bad things and list them off without any sort of constructive feedback. So even though all of these are admittedly rough factors of Second Extinction, all can be fixed as things go on through the updates we'll see. Now, one of the main bad things and kind of downsides to Second Extinction at this current point in time is that the map can get pretty monotonous to travel through. And even though its scenery is beautiful and the missions keep things fresh, once you've run through the map for the 20th time, things begin to get pretty predictable. This is easily fixed with either map additions or expansions to the current map, but that's something that deserves its own separate video that I'll have up shortly after launch at some point. Some gun upgrades sadly don't work properly, namely some of the deep pocket skills, the grenade launcher's impact on detonation on impact skill, and the assault rifle's slugshot skill. This can be pretty disappointing because you're working to earn and achieve these upgrades, and having them not work functionably can be a pretty nasty gut punch. But with a little bit of tweaking and bug fixing, these can be fixed up pretty easily. Slopes in Second Extinction can be really weird and almost repel the player down them. I think this is in place so that you can slide down steep cliffs and avoid fall damage, but it affecting you when you want to travel up a cliff or hill, especially when you're having a horde of dinos kind of ravaging you and you're stuck with the uncontrollable slide, can be a really frustrating thing in moment-to-moment gameplay. I think the sliding factor could maybe be toned down to alleviate this. Control could be given to the player when sliding down slopes, or even removed entirely if possible. T-Rexes that spawn in random encounters sometimes spawn with only a hitbox on their neck, which can be a pretty tough target to track on its own. The only T-Rexes that spawn with their full hitboxes reliably every single time are mission T-Rexes. If it could somehow be ensured that they spawn with their whole hitbox, they could be really, really fun to take on in these random encounters. This is something that would be really great to see fixed early on. As well, in terms of dinos, sometimes the dinos can be really, really slow to react to the player. Maybe having them be alert to players' locations a little bit more responsively could be a good thing. Certain character voice lines are a little too frequent and could definitely be toned down, namely reload callouts in specific. Multiplayer connectivity can be a little rough and cause some infrequent to semi-frequent crashing. Crashing in general leaves a real bitter taste when playing, and maybe if there was some sort of soft save as you made progress and acquired items through a mission, then crashing wouldn't be so harsh. That way, if you crash in solo, it's not total progress loss, and if you crash in multiplayer, you can rejoin the session and pick up relatively close to where you left off, instead of having your teammates close to finishing a mission and you being left at square one. Outside of that, though, Second Extinction doesn't have too much bad to offer. It's really well optimized and doesn't have a lot of the rough around the edges things that typical early access games have. There are a few things that I'm leaving out that have been said by other reviewers, like IGN's concerns about the game's longevity or ACG's observation of visual errors and glitches, but I'm leaving that stuff out because the visual errors and glitches will be fixed and patched out as the game goes on, and the concerns about longevity are kind of moot because we already have the roadmap for at least the early portion of the early access. A link to my video on the roadmap will be down in the description below. Now finally, for the awesome stuff. Gun upgrades are immensely excellent. They feel powerful and well earned when they work. The OP factor to them makes this game incredibly fun and something that is a driving force for the player to grind for. If the future gun additions could keep up this radical energy to them, then we will consistently have fun guns and upgrades to look forward to as a player base. Hero abilities are awesome, and it's exciting to think of how many new cool heroes could be added to Second Extinction over its lifetime. As well, the moment-to-moment carnage of the dinos is incredibly satisfying. Launching dinos into the air, jibbing them to bits, taking out huge swaths of dinos in a fell swoop, it's pretty unmatched. The way your character gets literally painted in dino blood and gore is great and truly unlike any game that I can think of. The movement tech is awesome and great fun to experiment with. Dodging dinos left and right and getting the timing down is really satisfying. Vaulting up to higher ground is clean, and in specific, the stuff that you could pull off as Ortega with her dash ability is the literal definition of satisfying movement mechanics. The explosion and particle effects are visual eye candy, and it really doesn't grow old while you play through the game. Also, the weapon skins are excellent and really well made. A personal favorite of mine is the chrome skin. It's a great example of how much of a bloody mess you become after slaughtering a pack of dinos. Finally, the fun factor of Second Extinction is unlike most games out there, and if there's anything a developer or team member could take away from this review is to knuckle down on that fun factor. Keep it as a constant for us, and Second Extinction will thrive and become great based on that purely alone. As a kind of final summary for you dudes, Second Extinction is totally worth picking up in its early access at an affordable price point with immensely fun gameplay and a huge amount of potential to grow and become something truly spectacular. Second Extinction is well worth your time and attention. Thank you so much for watching.